now it's gone. So, I guess I'll just start us off. Oh, man. Just look into your eyes. Yeah, start it off. All right. My name's Jacob, and I'm sitting down with Sean Smart, and he is a graphic designer here in Austin. He's out of Wisconsin. He's a great friend of mine. Does a lot of graphic work for myself, and I just want to sit down and talk to him and see what he has to say about his art and how it affects his clients and what he wants to do going forward. So Sean, do you mind just letting the people know that are watching like who you are so they can give a shit about you from the very beginning?
Yeah, sure, I'll try. Can't make people give a shit about me.
Give a shit about him.
Please.
Please
give a shit about me.
He's got 20 seconds. You got to give a shit about him for that 20 seconds, and then he's open for interpretation.
My name is Sean Smart. I'm a creative entrepreneur. That's what I came up with. Those two words together.
Great.
Is what I do. Creative entrepreneur because I do a lot of shit and I don't know how to exactly categorize that per se.
There's a lot of shit.
And I want to do even more stuff, so I don't know.
That's perfect leeway.
Yeah.
So the people that now gave a shit for 20 seconds, what are you trying to get into?
I mean, at this point, like NFTs are hot, so I'm trying to, stake my claim into that game a little bit. I've got this CBD company that I'm working with in Virginia that I've got part ownership of, and I'm really excited for the future of that. And then obviously I do all my freelance stuff, web design, graphics, logos, music covers for musicians, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how all that combines into Sean Smart, the artist.
When you're telling me like you want to get into NFTs and you're backing into a CBD company, these are kind of gambles, I think, for a lot of people. So when you do, does that just go based off your age, like of our age group that believes in these things, or have you always been an innovator in what you think is going to be popular?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've had many different ventures in the past that have either succeeded or not, that have paid a lot of money or not, that I've gone through. And so, yeah, I think I'm more on the risk taker kind of vibe, just put as many irons in the fire as possible and see kind of what sticks is kind of my MO. But yeah, I mean, it is really hot right now. I don't think it has an age group on it for NFTs. Obviously the younger people are super hype on it, but I mean, Gary V's also in it right now, so he's one of the big players in NFTs and just innovating what they can actually become or provide for the community. It's crazy.
Can you talk about what was the moment where you're like, I get this? Because NFTs is something that is, I think, if you get the explanation from somebody who doesn't understand it, you're like, what's the fucking point? But if somebody like yourself who sees it, could you talk about that moment where you're like, I get it?
Yeah. So one of my previous ventures is a virtual reality company. So that was started like 6 years ago now. So 6 years ago, that's when we were kind of focused on VR and the possibilities of what the metaverse can kind of bring to us. So when I saw NFTs, I immediately took those and brought those into my virtual world. And that's how I see the future of NFTs is, we're all going to be living in a virtual world. more so than how we are right now with social media. It's going to be even more visual than anything. So having 3D art or digital art for your house or whatever space you're chilling in the virtual world, I think is going to be, that's kind of where we're going with it, as well as, you know, how it has to, it combines with the blockchain, you know, that's a thing in itself,
right?
Which is, you can go down a long rabbit hole with.
Do you want to go down that
No,
rabbit hole?
not at all. I'm more so on just the artistic side of things. So that's where I want to stay.
And so your stake in the CBD company happens to be the artistic side of things?
Yeah, so I mean, I joke around. We'll see what position I put on LinkedIn for it. But I've been joking around as the chief chiefer. But on a serious note, I'm thinking about being I'm more so on the brand side. So I created the brand of the CBD company, and what everybody sees, everything that comes out of it is something that I create, that I try to bring into this brand, this mission, this story that we have as a CBD company. And that's kind of what I do as a freelance graphic designer as well. So I don't like to think of myself just as a graphic designer. I am about the brand as a total, and I want to see that, you know, succeed for other people as well.
And I've seen you do that with Amigo Hen's Bread. You've done a really good job of I'm not going to work for you, but I'm going to make sure that you succeed.
Yeah,
that's what I've always liked working with you on. And you know, we're pretty successful now that we have a podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course.
So
that's the line, you know. Once you cross that line, you're
right.
Success instantly.
What I like how you mentioned that you're I'm not just a graphic designer, because when people ask me for references, they say, do you know a graphic designer? And I think of that too. I think it's a very limiting term, because when I went to school, a graphic designer was somebody who designed t-shirts and wasn't handling the business aspect of it too. And I think I would consider you more of an artist, because when I met you, you were always kind of looking at, if you want to touch on the artists that you do but Supreme is the first one that comes to mind, where you're I like how they've created a brand and then they're able to expand on it with partnerships.
Right. Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of the designers or artists that I look up to now, Cause, Ronnie Feig with Kith, Supreme is the staple of that collaboration with other companies. But yeah, I see that and I'm that's what I want to do. I want to have a brand that is so recognizable that it can collaborate with other big brands and make cool shit all the time.
That's all you're trying to do.
That's all I'm trying to do. I love doing things for other people, and I get a lot out of that, you know, personally. That's just how I am. I like to help people, but I'm definitely getting to that point where in my career where I need to start being selfish and, you know, doing things for myself only.
So if you were to get a phone call from somebody today, what kind of client would you want that person to be on the other side?
I mean, you know, getting up to that point, I want to work with, you know, companies that I fuck with, that I like, that I look up to, that I think are doing something really cool. You know, I've always wanted my own clothing company. So that's where I'm trying to go with it. So collabing with other clothing companies, I think would be awesome. And just other artists. The same kind of a business plan approach, except on a lower scale, I think, you know, trying to be Sean the artist, and then once I get that brand, that box logo, whatever it is, you know, that character.
Yeah.
That everybody can say, oh, that's not, that might not be Sean Smart, but that's Smart Work Design Co. or that's Smart Work or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, you know. That's where I'm still trying to navigate, you know, because I also did music as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Sean Smart came from. And so I don't know if I want to kind of like leave that doorway open still, because, you know, that's still a passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like paying bills has definitely,
It's changed the game.
yeah.
Well, if you were to step into the ring of, let's say it was like a recording house, would you feel like it would be like a fraternity environment where you had access to all these different things and you can, like a laboratory?
Yeah.
Are you trying to create like a workspace where you can walk into a room and if you want to do music, you can do music, or you thinking you're gonna roll the dice and go into a direction and just do something for fun?
Yeah.
Because you did do music where you were making music videos, you were opening up for popular artists today, and just I know you had what it took to be in the industry. I think it's just by choice that you're stepping back from it a little bit.
Yeah, right. I mean, partly because, you know, it's when I was doing music over 5 years ago, and now it's definitely, the game has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, social media is different. Like, I don't do social media as much as I should anymore, but so that's one thing I look to improve on. But yeah, I mean, it was a wild time of my life, and it was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
But it was also very like carefree, which I don't know if that's like a good thing or not.
I don't know. Some people like to stay in that lane.
Yeah.
You know, some people, like for myself, I had a similar early 20s where it was like a lot of fun, and then I just kind of hit a moment where I was like, look, I mean, something's got to give, and I think I went towards the boring podcaster, video production owner, and I'm just kidding. I love those things, but I felt like I could, for music, like audio engineering. People might not know this, but I did audio engineering in my early 20s, and that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm never going to make it as a musician because I can perform, but like as for being that personality besides myself, that just wasn't never me. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to be in the music world by producing and being an audio engineer, and then it just turned into this, that's just not what life had in store for me.
Right. Yeah. Funny how that works.
And a lot of the time, instead of like fighting the trend, you just got to go with it, right? Like
that's why I'm looking into NFTs. You know.
Yeah.
Like I see my buddy who's doing it. He's been a struggling artist for the past 10, 15 years. You know, he was a photographer. He was shooting models all the time, but still just not being able to get that foot in the door and to get paid as
Mm-hmm.
much as, like, you know, the top people do. And then he turned to, you know, painting and abstract and stuff. Like, so like that's hard to like make a living off of.
For sure.
But
unless
now
you
he's
die.
Exactly. But now he's doing abstract NFTs, and he can make one every day and sell it in a couple minutes to a collector that follows him, and, you know, make the money you have to make for that day. You know,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool that, and there's a huge so many different communities are being created from it as well.
Could you talk about the communities? Because what I want to know is how, as an artist, it's a very scary decision to make because you're not going in to make money, and you already know the margins are really thin. So when you are doing this on the day-to-day, like how do you find your clients, and then also like do these communities or that you go to, how impactful are they to you?
I mean, are you saying physical or digital?
Digital,
Digital?
because you're important in the digital world.
Right, right. I mean, I I don't get too much work like from people that I don't know. It's always a reference at this point. I don't do any outbound. I don't have like Thumbtack or whatever, which I probably should. You know, example what we were talking about earlier today. But you know, I it, it's
We
it,
deal
the
with a shitty client. Cut. Cut. So then you got to bring it back.
Yeah, so the communities that I mean, like with the NFTs specifically, they have like a collection of avatars, which is like I don't know if that's cool or not. I mean, it's just like how you can create different rarities, and I don't know. It goes deep with that, but everybody that buys this collection of NFTs are, you know, they are looking for something more than just this picture, right? For example, I have the Fancy Frenchie or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
so they donate 7% of all sales to dog rescues, which is dope. But on the other hand, the community of these Frenchie owners right now is like, they're like on Discord, they're just like grilling the people that made these Frenchies, because there's not a huge plan on like what to do next with everything. That's huge with these big collections. But then there's also people like my friend that are just artists and they just sell their art.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in just like the bigger NFT community on Twitter. Like there's just the overarching community of NFTs is the big community, and then there's little pods.
Can you help expand the NFT people who are just hanging on by a thread really quick? Just to summarize what you're saying, you think the VR world and the digital graphics world, they're going to combine together?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of NFTs are 3D, you know, models and stuff. So what some of these collections have in store is actually bringing these models into a video game.
Oh yeah.
So that's what's up next, but eventually
Oh, that's really cool.
it's all gonna be in your virtual world once you put that VR head or AR headset on.
One thing I really loved in high school is having an idea, and you don't have money as a kid, right? But like when it would come few and far between where you can make that thing come to life, that's like one of the greatest things about, for me, creating something. And I think the idea that what about NFTs is cool is you can be in your living room, you can have it minted, you can have it come into the world, and it's worth money, and it's not like you have to go to a person to manufacture it and then you have to have it sit on the shelf. That idea was always scary to me because I wanted to do graphic design. I wanted to be in a marketing world, but it seemed like there were so many hoops to jump through to make one thing happen that it stopped me from wanting to do that.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, your art as a graphic artist, you know, it can be displayed in so many ways, whether that be the physical world or the digital world. And, you know, if, you know, I'm making a website, people hold that higher than if I'm going to be making a flyer for
That's crazy, right?
a music show, you know. So that trend is already being shown, you know, moving towards the digital, which, because I love painting like as well,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't done that in a long time because it's not gonna pay me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, like just combining these worlds, that's all I'm trying to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's see how many... we're at like 20 minutes. I mean, how do you feel about the podcast?
It's cool. Yeah, it's dope. I'm happy that you're starting this and, getting more people to see the cool people that you work with.
Oh yeah.
Because you work with a lot of people, and you've put me into contact with a bunch of them, and we get shit done.
Yeah, it's for real. There's not like so. Maybe you still give a shit about Sean. Maybe you're still listening in. But I'm going to tell you, I've worked with a lot of people that do graphic design, and you could hire somebody on Fiverr. But what I love about working with Sean is that he understands what you need to do. He doesn't put his artistic flair in there where it overrides what the ideal goal is. He keeps it to what you're trying to accomplish, and sitting down and talking to him, you can hear he's trying to do something that's a brand for himself. So he's not trying to insert himself onto your vision. He's got his vision, but he's just trying to make his money.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people are hired for a specific, style that artist has, but that's not me. I have every style, so people come to me and with, examples of things to do, and I'll be like, yeah, I can do that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you're able to adapt really well.
Yeah.
Did you have like a teacher or somebody that like kind of showed you the ropes, or has that always been the case?
Nah, I got my first MacBook, the summer going into college, and my buddy worked at the Apple store. He gave me a crack version of Adobe Suite.
Yeah.
So I just, I wasn't even putting music out at that point, but I was making cover art for myself as just like...
Oh, really?
Just doing random Photoshop stuff,
That's cool.
Just make a bunch of cover art, and try to replicate other dope cover arts. So that's how I started it. But yeah, I tried to do graphic design in college, but I was always late, and the professor hated that apparently, and so he hated me. So just wasn't a good fit.
Yeah.
So I just learned it all myself, everything, and I can definitely see the stages where the skill sets just from when I started to now is a crazy improvement.
I like the story of how you were just doing it. You're just I'm going to replicate these things, and it wasn't I actually got to record that song now.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like there's pressure when you did start. You were just I'm just going to do this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a natural thing, My mom's super artistic. We would do art shit all the time growing up, so that's just... And then when I was in college, I started doing engineering, had the hardest first semester in the fucking world, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not trying to make my parents happy anymore. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So
yeah,
just went to all art classes after that, and
kicked out,
cruised on through college. Had a good grade point average.
Yeah, you're a college boy, man.
Nah. I hated
he
school.
attended school.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
College was easier to...
What do you think about today? If there was a graphic designer or an artist that's out there listening right now, could you talk about how important school has been into what your decision in your lifelong career is going to be?
I don't know if that's a good question for me, because I would say, if you have a dream and you want to do something, fuck school. Fuck school. I have lifelong friends from college and high school and stuff. Obviously go to high school. Probably graduate high school. But
Graduate high school.
That's
just, if you walk away with anything, just
Just
graduate high school.
Yeah. But But yeah, I mean, if you
Sean Smart, graduate high school.
I was actually valedictorian of high school in my high school.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where smart comes from.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
No, but yeah, pretty much the only thing I got out of college was lifelong friends, and I do get this company that I help.
What is it? What's it
build,
called?
Roots and Culture, the CBD company. Go to rootsva.com for all your CBD needs. He was on my floor freshman year of college. So
That's a long time.
it comes around full circle.
Yeah. When did he reach out to you? Did you always keep in contact, or was it like a random out of the blue kind of thing?
I mean, we were always boys. Even after college, a couple years, you know, we'd keep in contact. And then, yeah, he was like, "Yo, I got a farm. I'm growing CBD, growing some plants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm trying to make a business out of it. Let's get together." And it's so like startups are. This is part of my like what I risk it for the biscuit, right? I always jump into things and like kind of do things pro bono, or like when I started my VR company, you know, we weren't getting paid at all. Yeah.
It was originally a video game company.
Yeah, I mean, we were making video game for Children's Museum in Milwaukee, a VR video game. That was dope. And we weren't making any money at all, and it was just like we knew that this was something. We knew that it was going to be something, and we like saw it through. Well, I saw it through as far as I could go with that. But
do you want to start closing the episode by talking about how like you were in the three? Because I think this is really important for every artist out there. When do you decide, you know what, I have the skills to pay the bills? Because you were in this startup. It had a lot of big investors. It has a bright future, but at some point you just said, this is not what I want to do. Can you talk about your exit and what made you hit you on the head?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, it started out as a video game company. That's what I was like, you know, happy about that. And then we turned into like a data, cybersecurity, and it's just like all this stuff that I'm not really passionate about, and that just turned into me not loving the work that I did, and that's all I want to do. If I'm gonna be working on something every single day, I want to love doing that. And I always knew that I could you know, do freelance by myself. I have a supportive girlfriend that, you know, when we weren't getting paid, you know, she was paying a lot of the bills for that time. But now, you know, now that I'm doing my own thing, I'm able to pay, you know, quite a few bills now, which is nice.
Go to concerts and fly around the country.
Around, dude. I've gone on so many vacations, just because, you know, when I was doing that work that I hated, my mental was all fucked up, man, and I didn't. I hadn't been on a vacation for 5 years, and, you know, so now I'm doing everything that I wanted to do, felt like I was missing out on, and, you know, getting my mental back to a spot that I'm happy with, and can, you know, then begin to start growing my, you know, business and other things. I think that's been the best thing for me right now, is I haven't been super hard on creating whatever I want to create, business wise. I'm just letting it flow kind of right now. And then, you know, when I know is the time, I'm gonna like kick it into gear, totally dive in head first.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what everybody wants to do, but sometimes you can't do that. So you know, if you have a job that you don't like, I think, and you have a passion that you know you want to do for a living, make sure that you can make that jump. If you can do a balance of both, do that first for sure, just so you know that step isn't gonna be so large when you actually take that dive.
Because it is a big step.
It's like huge step.
You could be doing something in the morning, and you could be like, well, shit, man, I can do this in the day, or I can do this during the day, and I don't need to go to my daytime job. You're gonna hit that if you're an artist. I hit that. But the idea of consistently pulling clients, that's something you have to work hard every day, all the time. So it is a big. It's fun. I think for the first 2 months, you're like, I'm waking up late. I'm doing this, and then you're like, oh shit, now I gotta pay this car insurance,
credit card bill.
Yeah. So I always like the idea of encouraging people to follow what they love doing, and a lot of times people will ask questions like, well, what do I need to do all this thing? I think as long as you love the thing you do, that's a sign that you should go in that direction. And a lot of times I'm going to piggyback on this. I'll see people that go, well, what should I name my company? I say name it the thing that you love, because you're going to be saying it a whole hell of a lot. So I say Hen's Bread all the fucking time. I say Amigo Booth all the fucking time. You know.
Yeah.
So, Sean, why don't we put a bow on this? Why don't you tell people what you love to fucking say all the fucking time, and how people can reach you, and how you like to be contacted if there is somebody out there looking for somebody of your talents.
What do I love to say all the fucking time?
Roots and culture.
Yeah, roots.
I love to say roots and culture, VA.
Roots and culture, baby.
RootsVA.com.
RootsVA.com. SmartWorkDesign.co.com, because people get that messed up. Sean Smart on SoundCloud if you feel so inclined to hear some dope rap music. Just hit me up. Sean at SmartWorkDesignCo.co. It's the .co. I kind of fucked that up.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, I mean,
you'll see it right here.
Yeah, it'll be behind us.
Yeah, Smart Work. That's the next thing I'm gonna really pump. I'm trying to build that. Looking at you as an example of how to build a business.
Oh, I don't know. I just wear a Hen's Bread hat all the time, and hope I'm a good business owner.
You got employees now though, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, maybe one day. You want employees, right? You want people that you can keep a brand.
For sure, yeah. That's a hard thing about building a business, a startup on your own, is a lot of the time people look at you. They want the Jacob when they think of Hen's Bread.
You want me to tell you something? That's exciting. So, the idea of making money when you're not there is that's ideally why you want to create a business, right? Well, today Black's Barbecue, the original Black's Barbecue. Shout out Black's. They have a music festival in Dallas this weekend, and I can't attend it because I'm working with Genesis on their barbecue fest.
Right.
So Clay is going to go up to Dallas, and he's going to shoot the thing. And so it's pretty big for Hens, because usually I have to be present and I have to kind of coach somebody through. But I've worked with Clay for 3 months, and I feel confident he can execute a business's objective.
Yeah, and you have that trust. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's fucking hard.
It's getting some people that you can trust.
You hear that, Clay? It's fucking hard to trust you.
All right.
But man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, it was fun, man. First one. Let's go. Sean Smart.